So new developments in the case now being built against Luigi Mangione, the man accused of murdering the CEO of United Healthcare on the streets of New York. An indictment in New York, and new timing also we're learning for when he could actually be sent back to New York. Luigi Mangione's new lawyer says that he is not going to, or at least will no longer be fighting extradition. And he has now been indicted in New York on 11 counts, including first-degree murder. That charge, a rare one in New York. In his case, prosecutors are accusing Mangione of terrorism. Joining us right now to work through what this means, the significance of it, is defense and trial attorney Misty Marris back with us. It's great to see Misty. Thank you. 11 counts. The most severe being first-degree murder. Why is it a rare charge in New York?
Yeah, so this was unexpected because previously we knew that there was an arrest warrant out for second-degree murder. So in New York, second-degree murder is a premeditated murder. It's what we would think of as kind of a classic murder statute. Right. But in order to be in first-degree murder in New York under the statutory scheme, there has to be an aggravating factor. And one of those factors, which is enumerated by statute, is in the furtherance of an act of terrorism. Now, it's got a very narrow definition about what qualifies as terrorism. And so it's rare that there's a factual scenario that actually fits into that particular aspect of the statute.
Let me read from the indictment a little bit, just some of it, and I think we can put it up. In part, it gets into legalese, but it talks about intent to intimidate or coerce a civilian population, influence the policy of a unit of government by intimidation or coercion, and affect the conduct of a unit of government by murder, assassination, or kidnapping committed. It was committed, by this person. What does this mean, looking far ahead now, for trial, for the case that they are trying to build against Luigi Mangione, and then the defense strategy that would be needed to fight against?
Yeah, there's a couple of aspects here because you just read the very specific language of the statute. From a defense perspective, that is specific statutory language. It's not the colloquial definition of terrorism.
Right.
It has to fit into those parameters and in order for it to move forward on those types of charges involving terrorism. So you're going to see a challenge, a motion to dismiss by the defense relating to that. Now, if it survives and you get to trial on that, prosecutors have given themselves a challenge. And that's because, in general, you don't have to prove motive in a courtroom in order to get a conviction. But by virtue of this statute, you're required to prove an additional element that this was done in furtherance of an act of terrorism falling within the very parameters of that statute beyond a reasonable doubt. So it's an additional element which really does require a focus on the individual's motivation. So it's an additional challenge for prosecutors to get a conviction. And that's why you see all of those other lesser included offense, including a second-degree murder charge.
Because it specifically talks about intent, right? And this speaks to some of, what was found. I, as the non-attorney, would see this points to what was found on him. The manifesto, the writings, the way it was described. Like, does that speak to that quote-unquote intent?
Absolutely. The language of that manifesto is going to be critical because talking about these are parasites, this had to be done. It speaks to a broader purpose other than an individual vendetta, that he might have a vendetta against this company or this industry, but it speaks to a broader purpose to impact that civilian population or policy as per the statute, and that's where prosecutors are going to focus.
Okay, so this is really important, and then next step, and we'll probably have you back tomorrow to discuss, is then he has this extradition hearing in Pennsylvania, which it sounds like he's going to be soon heading back to New York to start facing all of this. It's good to see you, Misty.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you.